It has been an active morning. I made a stop before I got here, but the line was so long, I said, you know what? I'm just going to do my hair and head on over to our session. I did get here to the library a little earlier than I'm used to. And then I went ahead and printed us some more material, since I was a little early, in regards to the session I had with the coven this AM. Before we get started, just looking for my pen. Oh, here we go. We're going to do some deep breathing. All right. Good news. I submitted the manuscript to KDP yesterday for the Cosmic Orgasms book. Hardcover. I will probably try to work. It's going to be a busy weekend. My father's birthday's tomorrow. Father's Day is coming up. I'm going to try to work on the paperback in between time, whatever in between time is, because there's not much in between time, darlings. Okay. We're going to ground in scripture from 40 Money Scriptures. You can figure out how to use the 40 Money Scriptures book on day 2 of this playlist, and then how to use the 40 Money Spells book on day 1 of 40 Money Spells. Yesterday, you were working on your wealth altar. Today, delicious, delicious, delicious. Day 13, baby. Requirements for prosperity. Is the scripture for today. Oh, good, because I am ashy. Oh, that smells delicious. All right, Job 36:11. If they listen and obey God, they will be blessed with prosperity throughout their lives. All their years will be pleasant. If they listen and obey him, then they will be pleased with prosperity throughout their lives. If they listen and serve, they will spend their days in plenty, their years contentedly. That is from the New Living Translation, the Living Bible, and the Common English Bible. I worked on the book all day yesterday. When I left the library, my Uber driver was like, there's two rainbows in the sky. I had never seen a double rainbow before. It's rare if you see one rainbow. And I called my mama. I said, Mama, go outside. Look, it's a double rainbow in the sky. She said, I'm on the phone right now. I'm going to go look in a minute. So she goes, looks, she calls me back, but I'm getting out of the Uber at this time. And I got like 3 different bags in my hand. I can't quite drop everything. And it's starting to trickle a little bit. You know, I got electronics on me. And so she says, I see the one rainbow. She says, I don't see no 2 rainbows. I said, it's real faint and it's above the other rainbow. I said, you see it? She says, oh, there it is. I said, it's faint, but baby, it's there. And then I said, maybe the leprechauns brought us some gold and some 4-leaf clovers. And my mom, she's not witchy in any means. I am. And she goes, nah, girl. That is God and a reminder of the promises. I said, okay, yes, ma'am. What's amazing is for the book, I have underneath my cover design, I had put on the back of the book one rainbow, and on the front of the book, underneath the cover design, I had put a rainbow. I said, well, thank you very much. I'll take that as a sign. All right. We're going to talk about a few things because, you know, God around here means something totally different than God in the Bible. Matter of fact, we don't believe the Bible around here even came from God. They got a lot of stuff in that Bible, honey. A lot of wars, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of virgins being taken. Yeah, a lot goes on in that Bible. Right now, we are reading the canon and also in between the pseudo-pegrapha. We stopped at First Kings after a few chapters because we wanted to study Solomon in regards to the temple and how the temple was built. So, Testament of Solomon is what is currently being read. Who we got in the building? Hey, Cool Game 21, Free D-C4W, and Jackson Y8D. Welcome to the channels, love. So, we read already Testament of Solomon 1 through 11, and we also read yesterday 11 to 32. Today we read Testament of Solomon 32 to 53. Woo! What strikes me is what is being talked about in these chapters is also talked about currently in my magic book that I'm reading from Eliphas. They're talking about, I don't plan these things, they just lining up like this. So I told you all the other day that if you're reading Sabbath of the Sorcerers, that is a pretty rough read. Well, as rough as I thought that read was, I'm back at that read in the Testament of Solomon within these scriptures. All right, let's talk about it. So it's the interrogation of Asmodeus. Solomon confronts Asmodeus using the magical signet ring engraved with the seal of God given to him by the archangel Michael. He is forced to confess his cosmic origin. Born of a human mother and an angel, he admits his main job is to destroy newlyweds, spread insanity, and ruin marriages. The frustration of the demonic. What makes this dialogue so gripping is how prophecies that Solomon's kingdom will eventually fall, and that the demons will scatter back into the world into a virgin-born king, a heavily Christian influence insertion by later scribes, permanently binds them. The humiliation. Solomon doesn't just bind Asmodeus, he forces him to do hard physical labor. Asmodeus is relegated to molding clay and trending hemp to manufacture ropes for building the Jerusalem temple. The Demon Tech Support Manual. As you move into the later verses of the section, the text style will shift. It turns into a highly organized catalog of spirits. Onoskelis, the half-meal woman, or Tefresh, the spirit of the ash wind. For every single demon Solomon drags to his throne, the text forces them to reveal a strict three-part formula. The demon's name and physical shape, the specific sickness, illness they cause, the specific angel or holy name that thwarts them. Understanding the ancient mindset. To a modern reader, this looks like pure fantasy or occult lore. But the 1st to 4th century communities reading this, it served two very practical purposes. An explanation for illness. If you woke up with a raging fever, a sudden migraine, or an unexplainable psychological breakdown, they didn't have germ theory. They believed a specific spiritual entity was attacking a specific body part. A literal medical manual, the Testament acted like a spiritual medicine cabinet. If you knew which demon caused colic in the bowels, you just looked up the corresponding archangel's name, invoked it, and in theory cured the patient. The big irony, the underlying tragedy of the whole book is that Solomon uses these dark forces to build a holy temple to God. Completely confident in his own mastery, yet as the outer chapters show, his obsession with control and his marriages to foreign wives eventually caused him to fall into idolatry himself, proving that he wasn't nearly as immune to their influence as they thought. So today, because we've been talking about goddesses for the past few days, we discussed demons or goddesses. The text contains 7 of them. It's called the Seven Sisters. The 7 female demons. When these 7 demons appear together before Solomon, they don't look like monsters. They appear shimmering bright and beautiful and bound together. They explicitly identify themselves as the daughters of Atlas, meaning they are Pleiades constellation, the 7 sisters in Taurus brought down to earth. I love astrology. Let's see here. In this text, they represent the 7 cosmic world rulers of vice, which makes them brilliant from a psychological perspective, is that they don't physically attack people, they warp the mind. Deception is the name of the first goddess. Blurs the line between truth and lies, creating heresies. The angel related, Lamishil. Strife breeds arguments, division, and hand-to-hand warfare. The angel associated, Burichel. Fate battle drives people to keep fighting when they should make peace. The angel associated, Mamaroth. Distress. Separates friends and partners, speaks bitter jealousy. The angel associated, Balthial. Error tricks the intelligent, leading people to self-sabotage and grave crimes. Uriel. Power feeds the insatiable eagle, builds up tyrants, and overthrows order. Astera off. Demon, the worst, nameless. Whispers deep, paralyzing anxiety and existential dread. None named, bound by Artemis. Solomon handles them by stripping away their cosmic glamour and forcing them to dig the literal foundations of the temple. We need Solomon right now in a few different places if he's doing all this. Yeah. The headless demon. Right after the Seven Sisters, Solomon is confronted by one of the most visually striking and unsettling entities in the entire text. A demon completely devoid of a head, with a blinding flame shooting out of its neck. You know what this reminds me of? This reminded me of Sleepy Hollow. Y'all watch that show? That's the first show that popped into my brain. Depending on the translation you are reading, his name is Phonos, which literally translates to, or he is referred to as envy. The headless shape sees through eyes in his chest, fueled by a fire in his neck. His lore in the text is incredibly telling. The sickness. He attacks newborn infants, striking them in the night to steal their voices, make them mute, or cause sudden physical infirmity. The head hunting motive. He confesses to Solomon that he is constantly men. He does this because he is desperately looking for a head to put on his own shoulders. But every time he takes one, it never fits, leaving him eternally frustrated, hollow, and blind. Well, you don't have to be headless for that one, honey. We got folks walking around with heads that are frustrated, hollow, and blind. Anyway, that is the hangman card or the zombie card if you're reading from the voodoo deck. The cosmic irony. This is a brilliant ancient metaphor for envy and violent rage. Envy makes a person feel incomplete or headless, so they tear down someone else to take what they have. But because you can never truly wear someone else's identity or life, the stolen head never fits, and the fire of frustration just keeps burning. That is actually what is discussed in Sabbath of the Sorcerers in regards to taking other people's heads. Solomon's practical use for him. Solomon pulls off a classic ancient tech support move here. He takes a giant demonic hound named Rabdos, the Septri, and binds him to the headless demon. He sets them to work on the temple construction at night. The hound keeps the headless demon moving in a straight line. And the blazing fire shooting out of the demon's neck acts as a literal flashlight to illuminate the construction site, so the human builders can see in the dark. More slavery. So we also mentioned crystals. They had a green crystal. And I said, ooh, crystal magic. Because I know enough about crystals. I was like, okay. So the inclusion of stones and crystals where the text anchors itself is ancient lithotherapy, healing with stones, and the creation of protective talisman in the world of the Testament. Words alone aren't enough aren't always enough to keep a demon bound. You need a physical material anchor to lock the energy in place. The emerald green jasper, the stomach shield. While several stones are implied or mentioned across different variants of the Solomon text, one of the most famous specific stone drops in this demonic catalog is green jasper. When Solomon interrogates the demon who caused physical agony, green jasper is explicitly named as a countermeasure. The sickness. The text describes spirits that target the gut, causing cramping, burning, and wasting illnesses of the stomach. The remedy. The demon confesses that if a person carves a specific holy name or angelic signal on a piece of green jasper and wears it over their abdomen, the demon's power is entirely paralyzed. This isn't just random folklore. It matches the archaeological reality. Excavations throughout the Mediterranean have uncovered thousands of Gnostic gems or Solomonic amulets from the 1st to 4th centuries. They are always made of green jasper, hematite, or carnelian, engraved with images of Solomon defeating a demon or wrapped in protective angel names. Gemstones as the cells of the temple. The other places stones matter in these chapters is the literal construction of the temple. Solomon isn't just using regular limestone, he is collecting precious gems to line the inner structure. Lapis lazuli and amber. The text notes the specific demons are forced to mine and carry massive columns of precious stones, including deep blue lapis lazuli. The altar foundations by embedding stones that carry specific cosmic angelic resonance into the foundation points of the building. Solomon is essentially building a giant physical spiritual grid. The stones act like resonators that keep the temple ground clean of the very entities building it. The seal ring itself. While the text calls it a ring, ancient readers would have understood the focal point of that ring to be deeply engraved gemstone, an intaglio, Intaglio, signet stone used for sealing documents. It was a busy morning. The ring acts as a magnifying glass for divine authority. Solomon presses the engraved gemstone directly against the necks or foreheads of the demon. Throat chakra. And so the throat and the head. Voice and mental. So throat and third eye chakra. Including the headless one and the seven sisters to seal them into obedience. The crystal matrix of the stone is what holds the frequency of the divine name, acting like a physical lock and key. The underlying philosophy: to the ancients, crystals weren't passive decorations. They were viewed as condensed celestial energy, pieces of the stars and the higher realms that have crystallized into the physical earth. Because they held a pure, unyielding structure, chaotic spirits simply couldn't withstand their presence when properly consecrated. Let's talk about ceremonial magic protocol. The geometry of control. Now, the coven that I hang with are mainly, I guess they're mainly Christian. The teacher's a Christian witch. Now, I am not a Christian witch. I love studying, because we've talked about a few gods and goddesses these few days. I don't work with a lot of, I work with voodoo, Santeria, comedics, and I do dive into the Christian spell books, but I am not a Christian witch. And my preference when dealing with deities or entities is of African traditional religions. Okay? All right. So we deal with things like beads when we do symbols and things of that nature in what I practice. And what she practices is what you would mainly see uh, in movies or in magic shows. Like one of my favorite shows to watch is American Horror Story. Anybody watch that show? Anyway, I like stuff like that. Ghostbusters. Um, they recommend I watch The Sandman, so I'll have to look into that. So we're going to talk. She talked about dungeons and basements and things of that nature, kind of like people have naughty basements or naughty dungeons. They have dungeons or space just for magic. So, the geometry of control, the magic versus the triangle. Well, I don't plan on calling any demons into existence to do any of my bidding for me. I'm just going to holla at the ancestors and say, hey, ancestors, I need such and such done. Okay? So, in ceremonial work, you never just sit in a room and start calling on entities. So, you establish two completely separate lockdown zones. This is the ultimate spiritual barrier system. The magic circle, the fortress. This is where the practitioner stands. It is drawn, consecrated, and charged with names of protections, just like Solomon's ring. Nothing can get in. It is a space of pure authority, acting like a spiritual clean room or secure control bunker. The triangle of manifestation, the dungeon basement. This is a drawn outside of the circle. This is the designated containment zone where the entity is commanded to appear. It functions exactly like a magic dungeon. The entity is legally and energetically restricted to that precise triangular boundary. They cannot step out of it, and they cannot touch the practitioner inside the circle. All these that are mentioned right here are things that are also discussed in Sabbath of the Sorcerer, that chapter, in the Doctrine and Ritual of High Magic. Oh, let's discuss in that book. Anyway, um, it is exactly what it sounds like. Why put a demon in a stone? The trapping mechanism. The teacher said you put it in a stone when you say, if anyone is reckless enough to work with these chaotic forces, they must put them in stones. This is the core mechanic of Solomonic binding. Left to their own devices, these entities are like wild, volatile weather systems, unpredictable, formless, and hard to control. A crystal or gemstone acts as a metabolic trap for these specific reasons. Formless energy forced into flawless crystal lattice, trapped, engraved holy seal. The grid system. Crystals have a highly organized, dense, unchanging atomic structure, a crystal lattice. When a chaotic entity is commanded into the stone, its energy is forced to conform to that rigid, perfect geometric grid. It completely neutralizes their ability to shift, manifest, or leak out into the room. I'm not sure why, but I thought of Ghostbusters right then. The battery capacitor. The stone acts as a closed circuit. Only the entity is inside. The practitioner uses a seal engraving a specific holy name, archangel name, or character onto the stone to cap it. It functions exactly like putting a lid on a jar. The buffer layer, keeping a volatile entity bound inside a physical object, creates a safe buffer. It ensures the dark energy is anchored to a cold, inanimate piece of earth rather than latching onto the practitioner's mind, home, or physical body. Warning: it is not recommended that you call on these. chaotic energies. You never just walk away without closing a space properly. Often called banishing or licensing to depart, is the most critical part of the entire operation. In the tradition of Solomonic and ceremonial work, it is the absolute rule you never ever just hang up the phone and walk away from the circle. Leaving a space without properly closing it down is like performing surgery and leaving the incision wide open. It leaves a tear in the energetic fabric of the room, allowing residual chaos to leak out, which can manifest as sudden bad luck, deep exhaustion, intense vivid nightmares, or a heavy oppressive feeling in your home. Here's the exact step-by-step protocol used to clean a room. Bind the energy back into place and close the gateway safely. The closing protocol: deliver the license to depart, formal dismissal. Before you step out of your protected circle, you must formally command the entity to leave the triangle or enter its stone. This is not a polite request. It is a legal command using the same authority that called it. Well, we need to work that on a few folks. A traditional Solomonic license sounds like this: go now in peace to your designated place without causing harm or terror to any living being. May the peace of the divine remain between me and thee, and be ready to appear whenever you are called by these holy names. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun. Verify the departure, the sensory check. You do not move until you feel the atmosphere shift. The heavy, pressurized, or electric feeling in the room should drain away, replaced by standard neutral room temperature. If the entity was bound into a crystal or stone, the stone will often feel momentarily heavy or cold as it absorbs the resonance. Perform a general banishing, scrubbing the room. Even after the entity is gone, astral debris or psychic smoke remains in the air. The practitioner performs a standard banishing ritual like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, or using a consecrated sword or wand to clear the entire room. This acts like the spiritual disinfectant, shattering any lingering residue. My favorite type of wand is an Reiki wand by Yimiya, and I bought it. I bought a Yimiya Yiki wand off of Etsy. They run about $100. Deconstruct the sacred space, breaking the matrix. Only after the room is completely clear do you step out of the circle. You then physically and intentionally break the boundaries. If you drew the circle with chalk, you wipe a segment of it away. If it was visualized, you consciously pull the light back into yourself, signaling to your subconscious that the bunker is now offline. Grounding and centering, returning to earth. The final step is entirely physical. Working with high-density entities violently taxes the human nervous system. Practitioners will clap loudly, stomp their feet, wash their hands, and face in cold running water, or immediately eat a heavy meal, bread, root, vegetables, or meat, to slam their awareness back into the physical world. Handling the bound stone. If an entity was successfully bound into a stone during the session, that stone is now treated with extreme caution. The silk wrap: it is immediately wrapped in dark natural silk or linen. Silk acts as an energetic insulator, preventing the trapped frequency from radiating out into the room. The lockbox: it is stored away in a dark, secure place where no one else can accidentally touch it or disturb the seal. Yeah, since I do voodoo and Santeria and things of that nature, I just used chicken fingers as protection. And for things like mirrors, water, and I would just let them know that is not how I want to be approached through certain portals. So that was discussed this morning. I thought we would get in depth with it. And you don't work with all the different spirits that we've talked about all at once. You pick what you want to work with, what feels comfortable to you after you have done some studying or after you have um, followed someone who, or talked to someone who has practiced in that type of magic. So yeah. When I started out searching, I said, I want to learn about this. I sought out someone who taught at a school, African traditional religion. All right. We're going to get into spell 13, loves. Congratulations. We are on hump day of the third week of meeting Monday through Friday. Come rain or shine, 10:15. Okay, baby. The ultimate money answer. Notes on this spell. The ultimate money answer as delivered by the angels is love. Delivered by the angels. Delivered by whoever your spirit team is that you feel pulled to. Okay. Write the ultimate money answer out in your wealth grimoire. Heed it carefully. Number 1, love yourself. Love who you are and whose you are. Enough to remove and clear all money blocks and any and all blocks to your abundance, prosperity, and wealth. Love yourself. What you do. Love what you do so much that you would do. Amen. Love how you do what you do. Oprah is a teacher and loves teaching. Be a third grade teacher in school and being the teacher she is today are vastly different. That reminds me of Maya Angelou. Love what you do and how you do it. Love who you do it with. Loving the ones you serve makes your job that much easier, even in the challenging moments. Love the results of what you do. Love the results of what you do as they appear without any attachment that they appear and or when or how. Love how you feel as you do what you do. Become hyper aware of all the feelings rushing through you as you do what you do. Do you love how you feel? Do you like what you feel? Do you love what you feel? Wasn't that Shaka Khan song? Okay. Love who you are becoming as you do what you do. You are becoming a new being the more you engage in your true heart's passion. You will never be the same. Love who you are becoming. Oh. Okay. And that is spell number 3. All right. Delicious magical beings. That is all for today, honey, until tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed it. Welcome to Wednesday. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Mwah.